Well, hello and welcome in to another edition of the PHNX D-backs podcast right here on PHNX. My name is Derek Montilla. Of course, I'm your mayor of PHNX. I'm joined by my mayor of Coors Field, the one and only Thunderstick Jesse Friedman.
Struggling to breathe out here, Derek. I
Yeah.
need sea level air in my life again.
Yeah, it makes even the strongest man weak. Ask most professional athletes. But first comment coming in from Motion said, "Why is the ump so bad?" Jesse, there were a lot of things that were bad today, and we're going to address. We're gonna take responsibility and place blame where blame should be placed, of course. But home plate umpire today was very bad, and to be honest, in a lot of key situations where Ryan Nelson and other Diamondbacks pitchers kind of gave up some big runs, they did occur after some of these atrocious calls, non-calls, just bad umpiring.
It wasn't great. Yeah, it wasn't great. I do think that there were missed calls both directions, but like you said, there were some key situations where calls definitely impacted this game for the D-backs, right? I think Charlie Blackmon had a 3-2 count at one point. What looked like strike three was called a ball. That one was borderline. It wasn't obvious or anything. There was another pitch that Ryan Nelson really dotted on the lower inside corner against Mike Moustakas.
Yeah.
That didn't result in a walk, but it should have been a strikeout. Mike Moustakas hit an RBI ground out on the next play. So, I mean, I think honestly that was maybe the least of Ryan Nelson's problems today.
Very true.
It was a problem that, I mean, I'm sure it did make a difference. But he just wasn't effective in this outing. He left a lot of breaking pitches in particular right over the middle of the plate. And, we've talked about this Rockies offense not being the best, but these are still big league hitters and they're still able to punish those kinds of mistakes.
There was a comment about getting your ass kicked by the last place team. Look, sometimes, let's be honest, you're going to get your ass kicked by any team in baseball. It's baseball. Luckily, there is no aggregate scoring, so none of the runs the Rockies scored carry over to any of the other games for the Diamondbacks, so that's good for them. But Ryan Nelson, not good today. 4 innings pitched, 9 hits, 6 earned runs, 1 walk, 2 strikeouts. He had that 32 pitch third inning that pretty much just spelled disaster for him. It's much like what we saw from Dre Jameson in his 1 inning outing where he had a 41 pitch first inning. Like there's just there's no end in sight sometimes for these youngsters when they're getting in themselves into trouble. And to be honest, neither of them have looked very good as of late compared to what we saw of them last season.
Yeah, I mean, the D-backs came into this year really relying on not just Nelson and Jameson, but also Tommy Henry. We weren't sure at the beginning of the year exactly how much playing time each of those guys would get and when it would come, but you kind of knew it was going to, just the nature of the season. And we've already seen that with Madison Bumgarner now no longer in the organization, as well as Zach Davies getting hurt. You're gonna burn through some extra arms in your rotation. And so far for the D-backs, none of these guys have really been good at all at this point. And specifically Ryan Nelson over the last 3 starts, it is not looked good for him whatsoever. I think he's allowed 23 hits in 14 2/3 innings over his last 3 starts. And over the last 2 in particular, he's allowed 20 hits. And those outings, of course, coming against the Royals at home and then the Rockies. And granted, it's a very hitter-friendly environment here, but he's just not really fooling anyone at this point. And you can throw 95, you can have some pretty decent stuff, and these things can still happen if you're not putting it where you want it to.
We have your tweet, Jesse, about Ryan Nelson, Dre Jameson, and Tommy Henry and what their numbers have looked like in their combined 11 starts, and things aren't great. Aren't great.
They are not. 49 in the 3rd innings from Nelson, Jameson, and Henry. These are only starts, so this doesn't include Jameson's innings in the bullpen, which of course were quite good. But yeah, 49 in the 3rd innings over 11 starts for those 3 guys, a 6.20 ERA, a 1.60 WHIP. They're not really striking guys out either. 5.7 Ks per 9, 3.8 walks per 9. That's a little high. Those 3 guys were X factors in some way coming into the season. You didn't need all of them to be mid-rotation starters. You didn't need all of them to even be, big time, producers in the big leagues. The D-backs didn't necessarily they put themselves in position with enough rotation depth where they could get by if one of those guys struggled or whatnot. But so far, all three of those guys have struggled in the rotation, and it's put the D-backs in a tough position where it feels like when Zach Gallen or Merrill Kelly is on the mound, you're in a pretty good spot. And when anyone else is on the mound, things aren't going so well.
Yeah, and you actually had another tweet about that exact topic, essentially. Zach Gallen and Merrill Kelly in their 12 starts have been outstanding. 70 innings pitched, 2.57 ERA, 1.01 whip, 3 walks per 9 innings, 10.4 strikeouts. Geez, per 9 innings. And not only that, but you also have to factor in here that both of them had slow starts, right? So
yeah,
this is just really, it's just been their starts have late, their last, probably 6 starts, combined between them have been the really stellar ones. Zach Gallen probably a little bit more than that, but Merrill Kelly has really come online. He had a great start in game 1 of this season or of this series, but all other Diamondbacks starting pitchers, not great. And again, even that number is impacted there by a good start or two there from a few of these guys.
It's when I was compiling these numbers, my mind was kind of blown as I went. But yeah, it occurred to me, outside of Zach Gallen and Merrill Kelly, the D-backs have not had any productive starting pitchers. Zach Davies, even in his 2 starts before he went down with the oblique injury, he wasn't good. I mean, he had an ERA of almost 6. He had 6 walks in 9 1/3 innings or something like that. Obviously, it was a super small sample for him, but he wasn't great. Tommy Henry hasn't been great. Jay Jameson was sent down because he wasn't good in the rotation. Ryan Nelson's had 3 really rough starts in a row. And then, some guy named Madison Bumgarner also opened the year making starts for this team. And yeah, it's tough. I don't want to make it sound like, anytime any of those guys have pitched, the D-backs have been losing all those games. Impressively, I believe they're actually 8-9 in those 17 games that have been started by pitchers outside of Zach Gallen and Merrill Kelly. So the offense has come through. They've been good in clutch situations. They've been able to win games. But I think we all know that in the long term, you can't have, 2 of your starters doing all the heavy lifting and everyone else putting up, an ERA of 6 or 7 or whatever it may be. It's not sustainable. It's something that's going to have to improve for the D-backs to get to where they want to get to.
But in today's game in particular, it wasn't just Ryan Nelson that struggled pitching. We've talked about the bullpen being very good, and entering today's game, the bullpen actually had not given up an earned run in this series. But that's when Peter Solomon stopped in, who I imagine is going to be a candidate to be sent down once the Diamondbacks potentially make one of these moves that we might see them make here soon. But Peter Solomon today, 2 1/3 innings pitched, 7 hits, 6 earned runs, 2 walks, 1 strikeout. He's given up 18 earned runs now in 13 1/3 innings pitched in 5 games. Just not good. And I mean, I know that Torey Lovullo has not used him in high leverage situations. A lot of times Peter Solomon kind of gets put into games that it seems like are out of reach, or the Diamondbacks have kind of waved the white flag on a bit, but he really doesn't show signs of improvement today, being probably his worst outing, even though he just kind of had to stick it out and stay out there and eat those innings.
Yeah, I mean, he hasn't really, like you said, the D-backs, I don't know if they've lost even one game because of Peter Solomon directly. A lot of these games that he's entered in were clunkers by other starters or injuries or whatnot. So yeah, I don't think Peter Solomon has really cost the Diamondbacks any games, but yeah, even guys coming in low leverage situations, you still want them to be, league average, or like at least keep the game, keep your team in the game, at least give your team some semblance of a shot. He hasn't really done that so far. I think he's probably the least of the Diamondbacks' concerns right now, just because is on the pitching side. I think their starting rotation is more what the issue has been than anything else. But yeah, I mean, he clearly has struggled in his time in the big leagues, and even though he's pitching in lower leverage situations, there does come a point when it's like, okay, there's still a bar that you have to reach as a long reliever pitching in those situations. And I wouldn't be too shocked if the D-backs sometime soon decide that they want to go a different direction with that spot.
I'm just saying the Diamondbacks lost today 12-4, which I know is, obviously an ass kicking, but if the bullpen holds it together a little closer, it's a 6-4 game. It is a game in Colorado. The Diamondbacks have been able to put up more than 6 runs so far in the other 2 games. So it's like once the bullpen kind of let it get out of reach, it was officially out of reach. Solomon has a 12.15 ERA, just ineffective, right? But there were a lot of bad things. Pavin Smith, flat out terrible in right field today. Talk about missing Corbin Carroll. Talk about missing Jake McCarthy and some of the other talented outfielders this team has had. Pavin did not look good. I think he answered the question as to why we don't see more Pavin Smith in the outfield for this team.
It's crazy to think back to a couple of years ago when Pavin Smith was actually playing a lot of center field for the Diamondbacks, right?
Yes, crazy. Absolutely crazy.
They've come a long way in terms of their depth defensively in the outfield. But yeah, in these games, which the D-backs might have a few of them now, especially with Corbin Carroll not available, at least for the time being, they might have some games where you got Gurriel in left and you've got Pavin Smith in right. And it's tough. I mean, it's not anywhere near the caliber of defensive outfield that we're used to seeing over the last year and a half. Yeah. But he hasn't played there much, right? I mean, since the call up, the D-backs have only started Pavin once in right field. I believe this was his second. He's played a few innings here and there out there in other games, but I think he'll, with time, I think he'll improve. And Coors Field is also tough. The ball obviously flies farther than you're expecting it to. And Pavin a number of times started going up when in fact the ball was flying like 20 feet over his head. So I'm sure there's some difficulties with Coors Field in particular, but Pavin Smith has never been a terrific defensive outfielder. Even in a corner, it's still, you're looking for average, or more likely you're probably going to get a little bit below average defense out there. And we definitely saw that today.
Gabriel Ferreira says our depth is being tested early, which is very accurate. And that is why today we saw the very exciting debut of Dominic Fletcher being called up, making his debut from AAA Reno. Dominic Fletcher is one of the surplus left-handed outfielders that the Diamondbacks have that is very talented and has been doing well in the minor leagues, but really hasn't had an opportunity to play much due to, the stacked outfield that the Diamondbacks have had. And he, of course, doubled in his first big league at bat, which is just an incredible thing to see. Incredible confidence boost, and starting things off on the right foot. He almost went 2 for 2, smoke one up the middle that the defense had to make a pretty exceptional play on to end the game. But very exciting to see Fletch up in the lineup and playing in today's game.
He's a good prospect. I mean, like we've said in the past on a lot of other teams, Dominic Fletcher is an everyday player, right? He might even be playing center field for some teams if he was in another organization. Yeah. The D-backs just have so many outfielders as it is that it's a little bit hard to get him time out there. I wasn't super surprised that he didn't start the game today. He, as I think we're going to show in a video a little bit later on, he did not get much sleep last night. This is a very quick turnaround for him.
He got the call. Let's show that right now. Sure. Damon, let's show. He got the call last night, and this was basically how his evening went, getting his call up to the major leagues.
Were you able to get any sleep last night at all?
Maybe 1 hour. Pretty early wake up call this morning, so probably got an hour and maybe 30 minutes on the plane.
What time was your flight?
5 a.m. Yeah, so I woke up at 2:45 after about an hour, and then wrapped it up.
Panda Express was your celebratory meal last night.
So I had just picked it up previous to getting the call. So yeah, shout out to Panda Express.
Shout out to
Panda Express.
Max is going to kill us for that one, Jesse. I know that. But imagine you're standing in line at Panda Express, and the gentleman in front of you gets the call that he's being called up to the major leagues, right in front of your eyes. What a moment to share with him, should you be in the restaurant at the same time as that happening. But yeah, everybody, Gabriel, beautiful man, beautiful hair. Yep, he fits right in as far as that goes. And like, imagine playing in your first Major League Baseball game after getting 1 hour, maybe 1 hour and 45 minutes of sleep, Jesse.
Yeah, it would have felt just cruel to have him start this game, right? I mean, when we talked with him in the clubhouse today, he had literally arrived at the ballpark like 30 minutes before we were talking to him. That was at like 10:30 this morning. So yeah, sort of a hectic day for him. Obviously, the Rockies also had a lefty on the mound, so it wouldn't have necessarily made sense matchup wise either. My guess, although Torey Lovello didn't say this, but my guess is you'll see Fletch start on Tuesday against the Rangers. It looks like the Rangers have Jonathan Gray lined up to make that start. So that would make a little bit more sense than, having him start against a lefty on 1 hour of sleep. But he is a good defensive outfielder. He is very much more like you said, the D-backs kind of have a type, right? He sort of checks all the boxes, right? He's quick,
left-handed, good looking,
he's short, he's fast,
great hair,
plays good defense. So yeah, and it'll be interesting. I mean, I don't know if Fletcher is necessarily an everyday player in this league. Some people view him as more of a fourth outfielder, but he also totally could be. I mean, we see prospects all the time come up and you realize pretty quickly that they're a little bit more than what you maybe expected them to be. So it'll be interesting to see how long he's here and how much playing time he gets. Obviously, that kind of hinges on Corbin Carroll and what the future holds there, but should be fun to watch him while he's here.
Andrew in the comments asked what the hell happened to our red unis on Sunday. Did the uniform department forgot they exist? I don't know what's going. They're very chaotic with their uniforms this year. They've been all over the place, so we have no idea what they're doing at times anymore. But what we do know, we know what Emmanuel Rivera is doing at times, and that's hitting the goddamn baseball. The man is still hitting 500, and he is the pride of the island of Puerto Rico at this point. And I will forever stand him from our account, as we've been known to do. But Christian Walker, another very important piece for the Arizona Diamondbacks offensively to get back on track, actually is our king snake for this series. Christian Walker went 385 with 4 RBI and 1 home run. Toss up between him and Perdomo because Perdomo continues to be our risk king, but great to see Walker getting things back on track. That it's big for this team. He's such a big part of their offense, and especially if he can start hitting those dingers consistently again like he was last year.
Nothing helps break a tough stretch at the plate like a trip to Coors Field, right?
So, that's right.
The ballpark delivered, and so did Christian Walker. I think his home run yesterday was a little bit on the edge. I don't know if that actually. I think it was very much a Coors Field home run, if I'm remembering correctly. I think the XBA on that was like 0.70 or something. But nonetheless, it was still a good swing, and you are starting to see Christian Walker piece together better at bats. He and Lourdes Gurriel, another guy that comes to mind, is guys who haven't really gotten going offensively yet this season. And obviously they're both really big parts of this offense. So hopefully it continues for Christian.
Despite the results of today's game, the Arizona Diamondbacks did win the series 2-3. They take another series, of course.
Two games to 1.
Two games to 1. Excuse me. 2 out of 3. Sorry. Words are hard, Jesse. You know that. I've told you when you pick on me, English is my second language, and it could be considered a hate crime. I'm just trying to warn you. But Purple Hair Derek on the way. I think we're going to make that happen tomorrow. So stay tuned.
Ooh,
for that.
Are we?
But,
are we? Is Mailbag Monday being turned into dye Derek's hair purple day?
Dye Derek hair. We have an off day tomorrow. We know we don't know what to do with ourselves on off days. We've covered that already, so we might just dye Derek's hair on the off day. So we'll see what's happening. But Diamondbacks are off tomorrow. They did wear their Suns gear in support of the Suns. Maybe they stole the Suns mojo in Colorado. I don't know exactly what happened. Things did not go well for our Phoenix Suns, but they did go well for the Diamondbacks. Here's some shots, some video Jesse took of the Suns, or the Diamondbacks rocking their Suns gear. Let's take a look at that. Oh man, Jesse, that makes me so jealous. You know how hard I had to work to get my Kevin Durant jersey, and Merrill Kelly just gets given one by the Suns. Look at that; it's beautiful.
Well,
but I don't like this whole meeting at the. I don't like this. I don't like this. I don't like this sportsmanship. I'm too petty for this right here, to be honest.
It was. So first of all, it should be noted that Merrill Kelly and Kyle Freeland were teammates on Team USA. in the World Baseball Classic just a few months ago.
Okay.
So when I first saw them like meeting up and, they looked like they clearly knew each other pretty well, I was very confused for a second. But yes, it all makes sense when you consider that. But that Kevin Durant jersey, the Diamondbacks got from the Suns. I'm told it's an authentic, whatever that means, an authentic Kevin Durant jersey.
Whatever that means, Jesse.
Well, I mean, like, does that mean like that doesn't necessarily mean it's game worn, right?
Correct.
Like
correct.
In my mind,
that does not look like it would fit Kevin
means.
Durant, but I don't know. Kevin Durant's very slim, so I mean, it might be. I think it just means authentic down. It has all the patches.
Sure, it's like it is the type of jersey that Kevin Durant would wear, even if he has not actually worn it. But what I do have to make clear, we posted a picture on Twitter yesterday of Torey Lovullo wearing a very similar looking Kevin Durant jersey, and it was actually the same one. Yeah, they were just passing around that jersey from person to person, so they don't all have Kevin Durant jerseys.
Good,
but yeah, it was kind of a fun moment before yesterday's game, seeing Kyle Freeland and Merrill Kelly do their thing, even if I don't know, things didn't go so well for the Suns, Derek. So maybe they shouldn't have done that. But
maybe they shouldn't have done that. I don't know. But do you have any updates on Kevin Durant's favorite player, Corbin Carroll? I think you spoke to him before the game today.
Yeah, we did speak to Corbin Carroll before the game. He talked about how it hurt. that was his first comment. But yeah, he expanded on that a little bit more and said that he was trying to stay in the game, which is something we also heard from Torey Lovullo last night. But he was in a decent amount of pain, and he understood where Torey was coming from and trying to get him out of the game. But
we actually we stole your video from your short.
So
Damon, let's take a look at what Corbin Carroll had to say about hurting his knee.
Just hurt. I thought, I was kind of vouching to stay in the game, but I think, Torey kind of was protecting me and got me out of there, and so appreciative of him for doing that. And it hurt, but I didn't feel anything pop. I didn't feel anything. I mean, it felt like I hit a wall really hard, right? Yeah. And so it doesn't feel great, but wasn't incredibly concerned.
We've seen Torey do a good job of looking after his guys and mostly going out there and convincing his guys at times when he needs to that they need to leave the game just as a precautionary measure, right? We saw it, I think it was with Jose Herrera when there was a potential concussion situation. And again, it was just Torey doing a good job of managing and making sure the guys, you can never trust an athlete to take themselves out of a game. They're just too competitive at times to do that. And they're not always going to make the right decision.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, that's just kind of the nature of pro athletes is, you kind of have to convince them like, no, don't do this to yourself. Like we should.
Are you hurt? Are you injured? That kind of thing, right? Like,
yeah. And I mean, I also, it would have been really weird. Like even if it would have been totally fine from what the trainers discovered to leave Corbin Carroll out there, it's a little odd to have a guy like on the ground for that long and have the game pause for that long. And then Corbin Carroll just stays in the game.
You know what? I'm fine. I'm just going to stay in.
The optics of that would have been a little weird, but I mean, we know Corbin Carroll is one of the toughest people in this clubhouse. I don't think there's really any question about that. So, even injuries that don't necessarily, aren't serious, which they still hope this is not, you can still be in a considerable amount of pain. And Torey did say after the game today that Corbin Carroll will have a precautionary, I believe it would be an MRI tomorrow in Texas. So they're not sending him back to Arizona. They're just having him travel with them to Texas for this Rangers series. But as a precaution, he is going to have an MRI on the knee just to make sure.
Well, tomorrow, as we mentioned, is an off day for the Arizona Diamondbacks. So if you need to go figure out something to do with your time, golf is always a great option. And our friends from Pins and Aces have you covered with all of their wonderful apparel. We also have our Keeping It 100 golf tournament at Dobson Ranch on May 26th coming up there. Pins and Aces will be there. There will be prizes. There will be so much more. They have a Phoenix polo shirt that they have designed specifically for us that is incredible. And I will burn this fucking place to the ground if I do not get one. I'm just putting that out there right now because that's that good. Check out our friends at the Big Drive Energy wherever you get your podcasts. If you enjoy golf and want a golfing podcast to add to your life. But Pins and Aces make amazing polos, hats, golf bags, even a beer sleeve, an innovative product that allows you, meaning me, to store 7 beers right inside my golf bag and keep them cold the entire round. So check them out at pinsandaces.com. Use code PHNX to receive 15% off your first order and get free shipping. That's pinsandaces.com. They have a wonderful variety of shirts, patterned shirts, right up Derek's alley. So make sure to check that out. And of course, also check out our friends at BetMGM. It is the official sports betting partner of PHNX. And we have all sorts of fun planned at the BetMGM Sportsbook out at the State Farm Stadium. We had our away watch party with the Phoenix Suns. Things didn't go well, but if you were out there, you probably still had yourself a great time. We will be having Suns away playoff watch parties the entire playoffs, and hopefully for a very long time. And they will be presented by Neutral. We'll have happy hour pricing, $6 Rally of the Valley margaritas, and more. Wonderful food, sportsbook amenities. You can, I don't know if you guys are like me, but betting on the app is great. It's fun, but there's just something wonderful about getting that little piece of paper in your hand. So make sure to check out the BetMGM Sportsbook. If you haven't signed up for BetMGM yet, use bonus code PHNX. There's a few different offers betting on where you live, but for our Arizona audience, you will get up to $100 in bonus bets on your first wager with BetMGM. Again, make sure you use bonus code PHNX. Check out the show notes for full details. And now listen to Shane talk about the disclaimer.
Disclaimer, 21 plus to wager. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. U.S. promotional offers not available in Washington, D.C., Mississippi, Nevada, New York, and Ontario. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Colorado, D.C., Illinois, Indiana, Louisiana, Maryland, Mississippi, New Jersey, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Tennessee, Virginia, West Virginia, Wyoming. Call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369, New York. Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP, Arizona. 1-800-522-4700, Kansas, Nevada. 1-800-327-5050, Massachusetts. 1-800-BETS-OFF, Iowa. 1-800-270-7117 for confidential help, Michigan.
We thank you guys for being here in the PHNX Sports YouTube channel. If you haven't subscribed already, make sure to do so there, and also on your favorite audio podcasting app as well. Sign up for notifications on YouTube. That way you don't miss whenever we go live. Leave us a thumbs up. We always appreciate knowing you guys are here and you're enjoying the show. And leave us a review wherever you get your podcasts at. That way we get the feedback and can do whatever we can to make sure that Jesse does a better job. Right, because he doesn't do enough around here. He's out in Denver. He's just out there gallivanting around with his reporter friends. He's got Patrick Lyons back there doing run-ins in the middle of our show. But anyway, we thank you guys again so much for being here. Also, join us for our takeover events all year long. We are going to be out at Chase Field with you guys once per month until the end of the season. We have 5 events left. There'll be pregame meetup access as well as that PHNX It's Always Sunny shirt. So make sure to check that out in the show notes. Go to Eventbrite. Here are our remaining games. We got Giants, Braves, Cardinals, Padres, Rockies. Solid lineup there left. A lot of NL West teams left on the schedule. And make sure to just come have fun with me and Jesse. We're clearing our schedule. We messed up that first game. We did a post-game show the same night as the takeover event. Not a great idea. So we want to make sure that we spend as much time with you guys. We'll probably be doing pregame show on those nights. So come on out to the ballpark, hang out with us. Jesse is hanging out with Girth.
I wish I was hanging out with Girth.
Yeah,
Girth
you two mixing it up.
Hotel is literally like, I think it's within walking distance of Coors Field. And yet
your facility where you're staying is not so close.
Not so close. No. and you know how baseball is. I wind up waltzing out of here at about midnight every night. So suffice it to say, our schedules haven't really worked out so far.
Yeah, but, I understand. But we do have some numbers from this series that have end up looking much closer than they should after today's game, because the Rockies really put it on the Diamondbacks. But this was a much more one-sided affair coming into today, especially with the relief pitching that, like I said, had a zero earned runs before today. But after those 6 earned runs given up there by Peter Solomon, the relief pitching ERA looking a bit more like Colorado's, and the starting pitching ERA fairly similar as well. Just always interesting, Jesse. This is baseball right here. No matter one team having more runs, one team having more hits, sometimes it doesn't even matter. I mean, you could look at this score and Rockies could have won 2 of these games with the way that game's go in Colorado.
Yeah, I mean, it was 20-5. D-backs had outscored the Rockies, I think 20-5 in those first 2 games in the series. Correct. And now you're looking at 24-17, which is still, I mean, I the D-backs outplayed the Rockies. They won 2 out of 3, but it does feel a little bit like that Royals series where you kind of feel like you left something on the table. Not necessarily the D-backs like needed to sweep this series, or it's egregious that they didn't sweep the series. You'll certainly take winning 2 out of 3, but like in total, did the D-backs make it clear that they are a significantly better team than the Rockies? Like, I don't know if they did that. Today was just so ugly that it was hard, even despite the first 2 games going the way they did, you didn't necessarily come away with that feeling. So even though they're 4-2 in these 6 games against the Royals and the Rockies, I still think they haven't really played as well in these games as you would hope they would.
And when we talk about the Diamondbacks not getting the same recognition that teams that are doing incredible things right now, like the Pirates and the Rays are doing, that's kind of the reason. It's not to say that the Diamondbacks aren't doing well. It's not to say that they aren't winning their share of series. They've pretty much avoided losing the majority of their series, which is a good thing, but they just don't have that ability at times to finish. They don't have that ability to keep their foot on the pedal for an entire 3-game series, 4-game series, whatever the case may be. It really did feel like this was a case where it's kind of a letdown for them, because I feel like they were probably riding pretty high, and I imagine it's kind of hard to have too much confidence after you got smacked down like this in the final game of the series, despite winning 2 out of 3, right? But I don't want to be super negative about it. I do want to say that the Diamondbacks have been they've been doing things better. Obviously, hitting with runners in scoring position, they're doing a better job there. They had more walks than the Rockies, which again is a big part of their success. Another reason why they were able to take 2 out of 3 here. But Merrill Kelly was just absolutely outstanding again in game 1 of this series. 6 innings pitched, 6 hits, 1 earned run, 1 walk, 5 strikeouts. And I know we said that this team can't necessarily be a playoff team if it's just Merrill Kelly and Zach Gallen towing the line, but it's very, very good to see that their number 1 and number 2 guys locked in the way they are right now. Even if you want to add the caveat that it was a bad team, because this bad team hung up 12 runs today on the D-backs.
Yeah, what's funny is that Zach Gallen and Merrill Kelly are both really on a roll right now, especially Zach Gallen, but Merrill Kelly has also pitched pretty well of late. Those 2 guys consistently after every start, no matter how good it is, are saying that they didn't feel very good. And that was true of Merrill Kelly on Friday. 6 innings, 1 run, only 1 walk and 5 strikeouts. Like you said, after the game, we're talking to Merrill and he's like, I didn't really feel good at all out there. Like, the stuff doesn't feel good. I don't feel like I've really hit my stride. And yeah, I guess that's encouraging in some ways. I do think there's another level that Merrill can reach. He also talked with us on Friday as well as Torey Lovullo about a conversation that those 2 had together about some of Merrill's recent starts and the fact that he's been walking a lot of guys late in starts. And that's been a consistent issue for him, even though the ERA has stayed pretty nice the entire season. He's had some starts end in pretty ugly fashion multiple times because the walks just kind of pile up. He leaves some guys on base, relievers come in, with a lot of pressure on them. And then, some of those things haven't ended so well. So yeah, they had a conversation about Merrill's tendency to walk guys later in outings. And Torey basically told him like, hey, this is where we're at. We recognize that this is a problem and we want to make it clear that this is a problem. And Torey said it was something he was going to be watching in starts. I think if Merrill had, walked a guy in that 6th inning or, maybe walked 2 out of 3 or something like that, I think Torey Lovullo might have a little bit of a faster hook in some of those situations with him moving forward. But fortunately, that didn't happen on Friday, and Merrill had one of his best starts of the year.
The Arizona Diamondbacks, Jesse, are 3 games above 500. And of course, before we go on, you know what that means. Damon, can we do the thing?
Means purple hair Derek.
You know that's my favorite thing in the world. That kind of looked like
I thought you were talking about it does kind of look like the Rocky Mountain. I thought you were talking about purple hair Derek, but yes.
We all know purple hair Derek's coming. You don't have to keep talking about it and rubbing my face and the stupid decisions that I make in the past. Diamondbacks do end the month though, 3 games above 500, which Jesse, let's be honest. 3 games above 500 at the end of April. If you would have told Jesse and Derek that, in September, or not September, excuse me, February, how much would we have laughed at ourselves? Very much.
Yeah, it's just weird though, because like on one hand, if you had told me 16-13, I would have been like, wow, that is impressive considering the schedule that they have in April. Like everything must be going right if they're 16-13. But that is not at all the case, Derek. Like this team has problems, right? I mean,
a lot of problems.
The stat that we pulled earlier, starters not named Zach Gallen and Merrill Kelly have an ERA over 7 in 17 starts this year. That's a pretty big problem. But yeah, the team has found ways to win games that maybe they didn't have any business winning. We especially saw that early in the season, and they've hit with runners in scoring position. They've done enough things right to be able to make up for some of those flaws.
And again, this is kind of the discussion we've been having about the way that they find ways to still win, despite the fact that they're not perfect, that they're not running on all cylinders right now. But are they solvable problems? Are these things that the Diamondbacks could figure out and even find more success than going 16-13 in a difficult, month?
Are they solvable problems? I would think, hopefully, right? I mean,
like starting pitching is pretty big, right? And it's not like they need 5 Zach Gallons, even though everybody knows we're trying to grow 5 Zach Gallons in a laboratory. Everybody knows that we're attempting that. But of course, we talked about Zach Davies might be just a big boost to this team. And here in a couple of minutes, we are going to talk about Brandon Pfaadt some more because we can't get enough of him. And Torey said some very cryptic things today that leads us to believe that his debut might be imminent. So that it's not to say that these aren't solvable problems, because it feels like the Diamondbacks still have assets. They still have pieces. They still have guys that can potentially perform. And then even then at that point, it feels like some of their other options that they've tried might work out in another, way, like we've talked about with Dre Jameson potentially returning to the bullpen.
Right. Yeah. That's absolutely a great point. You don't necessarily need, we don't need Tommy Henry, Dre Jameson, and Ryan Nelson all shoving in the starting rotation. I mean, that would be great.
But kind of need one of them.
Yeah, exactly. You kind of need one of them. It's just that you can't have all of them really struggle. And that's exactly what's happened so far. You mentioned Zach Davies earlier. Suddenly, having Zach Davies seems like a pretty big asset for this team, right?
A guy that we were happy to let walk during the offseason, and now it's like, my God, Zach Davies, please come back and be what you were in like your first start of the season.
He's just steady, right? He's a veteran, and I know his couple starts at the beginning of the year weren't great, but you kind of know what you're going to get over the course of a full season with Zach Davies. Whereas with Dre Jameson, with Ryan Nelson, you might get a number 2 starter, and you also might get a guy who's not even a major league caliber starting pitcher, right? There's just so much volatility there. Whereas with a guy like Zach Davies, you just plug him in, and he's not going to be great. He's maybe going to get outperformed by the opposing starter more often than not, but he's going to keep you in games in a way that a lot of the D-back starters have not been able to do so far.
If you need to watch the Arizona Diamondbacks, and if you didn't have an opportunity to watch them, you'll have to check out Fubo TV. Fubo TV right now has 140 live channels of sports, shows, movies, and news. You can stream live TV from any device. It basically figures out a lot of the problems for you to watch TV from wherever you want to watch it. You can start watching immediately with a 7-day free trial. No contract, no cable, no hassle, no nothing. Just 1,000 hours of cloud DVR included at no extra charge, and watching whatever events you want to watch that you can't currently get if you've cut the cord. You can watch the Suns playoff run on ABC or ESPN. You can watch the NFL draft, of course, still going on, probably rounds 9, 10, 11. I think the NFL draft goes on for 2.5 months. I'm not sure. Not a big NFL draft.
They don't have 11 rounds. Isn't it 7? They have 7 rounds.
It's a joke, Jesse. But anyway, you can also get to the NHL draft, which our guys from the Coyotes podcast will be at live in Nashville, and you can catch that on ESPN. But most importantly, watch your first place Arizona Diamondbacks on Bally Sports with Fubo TV. Use the link in the description to sign up for 15% off your first month of Fubo Pro. You can also go to the games. Join us at the next Arizona Diamondbacks game. Procrastinate, wait till the last minute, and get your tickets over at Game Time. Game Time is the place for last-minute ticket deals. It's the fastest-growing ticketing app in the country for an absolute reason, and that is because if you want to be there, they got you. It doesn't matter. Concert shows, events, all of it. Snag the tickets without the stress with Game Time. Download the Game Time app now. create an account, use code PHNX for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply. Again, create an account, redeem PHNX for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Don't wait until the last minute to download the app. That's always a bad idea. I was at a fair and we were trying to pull up our tickets on the website, and there was absolutely no internet connection. So sometimes that will happen to you. Don't wait till the last minute to get the app. Get the app now, but wait till the last minute to get your tickets. And of course, procrastinating is the best thing to do always at all times. And the Diamondbacks are doing some procrastinating when it comes to calling up our guy, Brandon Pfaadt, Jesse. Per Tori Lavallo. Well, hold on. Let's take a look at the probables for this upcoming series. Rangers that starts on Tuesday. Damon, let's throw the probables up there. Jesse, is it this? Or is it this, Jesse? Is it this? Is it this, Jesse? Is it this? We don't know because Tori Lavolo said something very cryptic to you, and I can't stop thinking about it. And I'm probably only going to get 1 hour of sleep tonight like Dominic Fletcher did because of what he said to you.
Yeah, before the game, Tori Lavello said, I asked him, do you have any starters for that Rangers series? He was not able to tell us anything before the game on Friday. He said to wait till, the end of the series, to the last day of the series. So we did. He said Zach Gallen is starting on Tuesday, and he said Wednesday is TBA. And TBA. Yep.
To be announced.
Tom B. Anderson.
No, that's to be announced, Jesse. That's what they mean when they say that. Why would it be to be TBA? Wouldn't that be Merrill Kelly? Put the probables back up there. Wouldn't that be Merrill Kelly's start? According to the probables, it would look like this. This is what it's supposed to look like. Merrill Kelly starts after Zach Gallen. That's the way it works. That's the way the rotation works. What does TBA mean, Jesse?
Yeah, so with a 4-man rotation, yes, Merrill Kelly would line up for that start. But I think the writing's on the wall, Derek. I think Brandon Pfaadt is making his big league debut on Wednesday. There's no reason for Tori Lavello to come out and be willing to give his starter on Tuesday. He could have maybe said, we have a start. We have Gallen on Tuesday, but we don't have anything later in the week. Or he could have just said, we don't have anything at all at this point. There were other answers he could have given that would have made it less obvious.
Did he wink?
There was no winking that happened that I remember. But yeah, if it was Merrill Kelly, which is the way it lines up with their 4-man rotation, you got to feel like Tori would have come out and been able to say that.
Why wouldn't he have said it? Yeah, like I don't feel like TBA is something you do unless there's some decision.
Yeah,
like maybe it ends up being Merrill Kelly, but it doesn't mean that a decision isn't being mulled over. Now I have to ask: did you do your math like you've been doing and see if that start would in fact line up with a Brandon Pfaadt start?
It does. Yeah, it's 2 extra days of rest, so it's 6 days rest total, which is why it's not like maybe so obvious, like
not
you
a
said.
Slam dunk.
It is TBA. They could still go to Merrill Kelly. I don't want to say it's official or anything, but yeah, it would be 6 days rest, which down in AAA you have 1 off day every single week, so pitchers are pretty used to going on 5 days, and sure, adding 1 extra day in there, I don't think is a huge obstacle. You wouldn't want to go on 7 days rest, but I think 6 is fine. So I do expect Brandon Pfaadt to make his big league debut on Wednesday, although nothing is official right now, but I think it's pretty clear that's where things are headed.
I have the bat ready, Jesse. So if you say the word, when you say the word, this chair is going to get it.
You're going to hate me so much if that's so many people are going to hate me so much.
You better not be wrong about this one, big brain. Anyway.
There are things that I will say on the show that I will not tweet, because I know if you put something like that out into the world in writing, even if it would be said in kind of a speculative manner, which of course is how I would have to word it, it's just not worth it, Derek, because you're putting yourself in position for absolutely everyone to hate you. Here, I feel like I can get away with a little bit more, but I think it's pretty clear.
We talked about a sweep before today's game, and because they lost, people wanted to come for us, Jesse. You know that happened. So we cursed the team. It's all our fault. We did it. It's because of us, and it's not because of Ryan Nelson's terrible pitching. But anyway, where are we going to be the rest of this week? Well, Jesse comes back very soon. He needs to get back very quickly. And this is where you can find us, of course. We are going to be back on our normal Mailbag Monday episode. Do you have that schedule, Damon? Can we put the schedule up? Get us on Monday for our normal Mailbag Monday episode. We got 2 post-game episodes back to back. On Thursday, we will be back with another off day episode. Again, no idea what to do with our hands. And then Sunday, we will have our post series, Washington versus the D-backs. So we will be there at that series. If you're going to go watch the Nationals come to town, make sure to tweet to us, say hi, say what's up. We will be happy to do so. I will make sure that we get Jesse out of the press box once again. But in the meantime, we have a very, very exciting debut to look forward to. Hopefully we have some more concrete news on that by tomorrow at 1 p.m. But make sure that you send us your Mailbag Monday questions as always, and we will get you your answers. You can follow us on Twitter. But in the meantime, first thing you got to do is go to our friends at Circle K. Fuel up for that game. Fuel up on your way to that game. Make sure you check out your local Circle K for the best coffee, beer, snack selection, and premium gas. And I just need to speak in defense of Circle K snacks. Circle K snacks, Circle K branded snacks might be the best snacks in their entire store. Now, you can argue with me on this. You might be able to find a one-off here or there, but I will say after eating their snacks quite a bit because they've sent them to our office, I want to say that Circle K snacks are elite. Circle K branded snacks. And of course, because you're at a Circle K, you see their branded snacks, you just walk past them and you think, nah, I'm going to go for the more expensive name brand stuff. No need. Buy the Circle K snacks. They're incredible. They're hot chips, hotter than any hot chips that you can probably find on their same rack. So make sure to give them a try. Of course, they also have 12 packs of beer for just $9.99. They have the energy drinks that fuel me. Red Bulls 3 for $8. Monsters 3 for $6. And of course, make sure you're not missing out on all this great stuff. Head to circlek.com/store-locator to find Circle K's near you. Also, while you're there, grab some Four Peaks beer. That's a great place to get Four Peaks beer. Four Peaks Brewing Company, one of the best local beer. Wait, did I say one of? Forget that. The best local craft brewery here in the Valley. You can follow them on social. They're at Four Peaks Brew to get all the latest on Arizona's premier craft brewery. They make a wide variety of delicious beers that you can grab wherever you get your beers, wherever grocery store you shop at, or of course at Circle K. Make sure to pick them up and check out their 8th Street Pub. We just had our NFL draft party there. It was an absolute blast. People were very much enjoying the chicken tendies, and of course they were, because we wouldn't lie to you about this stuff. Their chicken tendies, absolutely elite. First round draft pick, the Four Peaks chicken tendies. You can check out their 8th Street Brewery, get their brewery tours, ask about the ghosts. Do us a favor, find out if the ghosts are D-backs fans, because we still don't know that. And of course, check out my favorite beer, which is the Wow Wheat. You get all wonderful variety of beers, anything you enjoy to sip on over at the 8th Street Pub. And they'll let you try all of them. So go there, sample, find your new favorite beer, and then pick it up wherever you get your beers at, close to your home. But in the meantime, Jesse, did you drink enough water? I know we're talking about beers here, but I just want to make sure did you eat? Did you take care of yourself?
I did eat.
I'm going to scream at Patrick Lyons if he did not take care of you while you were there.
Yeah, I feel like my diet was pretty decent while I was here.
Okay.
I have heard apparently the elevation really, really affects certain people. I don't want to throw anyone under the bus by name. There was a particular member of the D-backs broadcast crew, and not Susie. Susie's used to it, right? Susie's okay with the elevation at this point.
Susie's immune to all outside elements. She's just a mutant at this point. But
there were some members of the D-backs broadcast crew here in Colorado who sounded as if they were at the top of Mount Kilimanjaro. I mean, they said they couldn't sleep, they couldn't, they basically were non-functional human beings for 3 whole days. I'm not mentioning any names, guys. I'm not mentioning any names. But yeah, apparently the elevation really does affect some people, which got me a little concerned. I was like, man, maybe I'm not drinking enough water. But so far, so good. I'm hanging in there.
Well, your time's done. Get the hell off the road. Come back home. We got shows to do. All right. There's work to be done. There's donuts to be made. You can follow us on Twitter. You can follow Jesse and make sure he gets home safe. He's at Jesse and Friedman. I am at Cap_Caveman with a K for a very good reason. Our show is at PHNX_D-backs. I don't mean to leave him out, but since I don't see him because we're not in studio, I forget him. But Damon Dog, our producer, is at Damon Dog. That's DAWG at the end. And you have to, when you follow him, you got to give a little woof. But of course, all roads lead to at PHNX_D. sports_sports on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. I might have a problem with the altitude right now because I keep forgetting words to say, but who knows? Whatever. Jesse, hurry up and get back here. I can't do this show alone without you anymore. I'm just locked up in my house waiting for you to come back. So get your ass back here. We thank you guys for being here. We love you. We always appreciate you. Whether the Diamondbacks win by 10 or lose by 10, we'll be here to talk about it with you.
None of these games were remotely close. Like all of these were like
just absurd.
They were good games. They were also kind of boring, like
Yeah.
like the 6th inning, it was pretty clear. I guess Friday's game still 1-1 after 6 innings. That one only tipped in the D-backs' favor late. But outside of that, these were 3 complete blowout baseball games.
Well, we appreciate your good time here, you guys. Again, thank you so much for joining us. And remember, kids, baseball is fun, but it's so much more fun when the games are actually close.